EOH, the largest enterprise application solutions provider in South Africa.
Yep, and it's grown tremendously. It's got a very talented CEO, Bhobot, and he seems to has the golden touch. Everything that he buys does well, and the group has grown incredibly in terms of its market cap.
Long may that continue. Market cap 21.3 billion rand, a PE ratio here of 20, and a dividend yield of 1.3%. I haven't looked at this share price graph for a while, and there we go.
Sort of stagnated a bit, but it's a bit unfair to use a 5-year chart, because a 10-year chart really does go back and show you just how well. This one went from a market cap of a couple of billion to 20 billion. So it's been a 10-bagger as far as I know.
Yeah, one of the best performing companies on the JSE over the last decade, yes.
Exactly, but you're both using, the past tense, and what we're interested here is what is going to happen going forward.
Yes, and if we look for some clues about going forward, I mentioned earlier that acquisitions are important for companies in the IT services and consulting sector, and that's the case for EOH as well. They've made a lot of acquisitions throughout the years, but what they're very good at is integrating those acquisitions, and that comes from a very good culture. So you mentioned the CEO, Bhobot. He's instilled an excellent culture of people working together and generating new ideas, new business lines.
So still that entrepreneurial
and still
underpin.
have the entrepreneurial underpin, correct. And that means that this business has grown both acquisitively but also organically.
You still aren't answering my question about how you expect it to perform.
So because
going
the
forward.
culture is so strong, that's a hint that as long as they maintain that culture, they could continue. Obviously the company is bigger, so acquisitions that move the dial are more difficult to come by. But the culture is very strong, and that makes me believe that they can continue.
We've been in and out of this one.
Yes, over the years of hot stocks, we've occasionally been in the stock. We didn't add it to the portfolio when we did the reset in August last year.
Why not?
You know, it's because the share price looks the way it is, and it's the theory that because they're now so big, the beast is large, so you have to give it a much bigger injection to keep it up and standing. So what can they buy? I mean, they're announcing deals still. They bought something called Cornerstone a few months ago.
But as you say, nothing that's going to shift the dial on the
And
business.
also remember, the South African market is what it is, and I'm sure the government and big corporates, have a budget for these kinds of spend, and perhaps they'd rather spend on EOH. They probably get a better deal, bang for their buck, by hiring EOH than they would, to kind of go get IBM or Accenture on the job.
Is that a valid comment, that they're more competitive than the international counterparts?
Well, it depends on what, but there are a lot of applications that are more homegrown, and if you also operate into Africa, as they've recently gone into, I think local companies understand the dynamics of Africa a bit better than a lot of multinationals would. So they do have a competitive advantage in a limited sense in this specific geography.
We're calling it. Would you like to say anything else?
No, I think that does it. I don't know. I'm going to wait and see what JP says before I decide whether it's hot or not.
JP.
It's a great company.
Keep it a secret. You look away, Paul. Let me see.
Yeah, he can close his ears maybe. It's a great company, but in my opinion, it's been expensive since 2013. So it's going on 4 years of too expensive, but that gap is now narrowing as the price has stagnated. So I see fair value at 130 Rand, it's trading at roughly 140 Rand, so we're almost there. And who's to say it might get back to fair value, it might stay expensive, and then it could be hot, but I'm going to keep my discipline and say rather at 130, not hot for me.
Not hot. Paul?
So its recent trading update showed earnings growing at 25 to 30% or thereabouts. It has in the past given much more heady sort of numbers. So I think it's a bit becalmed right here. So I'm going to go with not hot, I'm afraid.
And if JP had said hot, would you have said hot?
Probably, yes.